Most Nintendo fans know Good Feel for their feel-good games like Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World. For the past decade, they have been Nintendo's go-to for stylish platformers with memorable characters. But what are the origins of this Japanese developer? How did they wind up making multiple cutesy games based on yarn, wool, and crafts? Join us as we get to the bottom of Good Feel's past, present, and future with this latest episode of Know Your Developers here at Nintendo World Report TV. In October 2005, Shigeharu Yamazaki and Etsunobu Ebisu took a risk. After more than a decade as developers at Konami, they up and left. Both started in the NES era, with Yamazaki directing classics such as Contra and Blades of Steel. Ebisu first worked on games such as The Adventures of Bao Billy, and later going on to work on everything from the Super Nintendo version of Batman Returns to Castlevania 64. They also were heavily involved with the Ganbare Goemon games that starred Goemon and Ebisumaru. Wait a minute. Ebisumaru? Ebisu was so involved with the Goemon games with Yamazaki that the sidekick character was partially inspired by him. Is Yamazaki the Goemon in this situation? I don't know. Maybe that'll come out later. But anyway, by the early 2000s, their development preference seemed to be working on games that were different than what Konami wanted to produce. Their last credits involved projects like Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Konami Crazy Racers, and a bunch of Goemon games that never left Japan, which are all notably types of games that Konami doesn't really make anymore, when they ever make games at all. There's also another angle to this, potentially. Umizaki ran Konami's Kobe-based subsidiary. It opened in 1998, making a smattering of Castlevania and Goemon games before closing in 2002, when all of the divisions of Konami fused back into one. While Umizaki did not immediately leave Konami after this, it's possible he wasn't thrilled with being able to run his own company and then see it taken away from him. No matter the inciting incident, the pair left Konami and formed Good Feel in 2005. The new company's first projects were primarily educational software on the Nintendo DS, but seemingly they had a goal in mind with their work there. They reached out to Nintendo, asking if they could make a game for them. Nintendo's offer was a new Wario Land game. By 2005, Wario was an anti-hero in transition. After several years of starring roles in the Wario Land series and numerous racing and sports appearances, the platforming aspect of Wario dried up. Treasure's 2003 GameCube game Wario World landed with a relative thud, and after the success of the WarioWare series that same year, the side-scrolling origins of the character were in danger of potentially fading away. Takahiro Harada, the Nintendo employee Good Feel met with, pushed for them to work on a new Wario Land game based on their past with platformers. Ebisu's first gut was to make a Wario-themed shooting game, but thankfully, Harada pushed him towards a platformer. Though, who knows, maybe Wario's shooting game would have been like the next Call of Duty or something. Imagine online multiplayer where just everyone's Wario, and maybe throw in like a Waluigi, could be maybe King of the Hill, I don't know, could have been ridiculous. Anyway, with Harada's guidance, Good Feel started work on Wario Land Shake It, an under-the-radar hand-drawn platformer that sneakily came out in the back half of 2008 on the Wii. If I do say so myself, Wario Land Shake It is excellent, and an absolute surprise of a game that plays just as well as it looks. And it looks gorgeous. After Shake It, Good Feel rocketed up to a place where their next project was of great interest, at least to the tiny sect of Nintendo fans who actually knew that Shake It came out. After a brief sojourn working on Luxley's Lineup, a quirky DSiWare game they made with Nintendo that probably is more in common with their educational DS background, Good Feel's next project was revealed. This time with a lot more fanfare than their Wario jaunt. Kirby's Epic Yarn was announced at E3 2010, and then came out later that year. The story behind Epic Yarn begins with Madoka Yamashi, who directed Wario Land Shake It and followed Ebisu over from Konami. Yamashi came up with an idea to make a game based around a world of yarn, starring an erstwhile hero that they named Prince Fluff. Beginning development in 2008, Good Feel worked on this game until a meeting with Nintendo the next year ended with the decision to turn it into a Kirby game. While this game was already in development, Good Feel was assisted by Kirby developer HAL Laboratory to add Kirby flair to the project so that way the world would feel more naturally Kirby-like. The end result, well, Here's a clip from my own launch review of Kirby's Epic Yarn from back in 2010. It's a game that I gave a 10 out of 10 to. As I said back in 2010, if you like things that are fun and are cool with playing a game that has a world called Streetland, then you should run out and buy Kirby's Epic Yarn right now. Honestly, I still love that game, and I'm very excited for the forthcoming release of Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn on the Nintendo 3DS. Epic Yarn's director was Kentaro Sei, who, like most of the crew at Goodfeel, started at Konami, generally working under Ebisu and Yumizaki. If you can't tell, there's a bit of a trend here. Anyway, he guided the development of Epic Yarn as well as Goodfeel's next Nintendo project. The Skip Skimmer and Veggie Garden, that's garden as in the act of defending with the G cut off in the end. Those were mini-games in Wii Play Motion, which came out in 2011 on, the Wii, and it made use of the Motion Plus, hence the name Wii Play Motion. The next few years were quiet for Goodfeel, but the early failing of the Wii U led to their next project likely being announced earlier than they would have liked. In the fabled January 2013 Nintendo Direct, where Nintendo revealed basically every Wii U game that was ever going to come out for the system, Yarn Yoshi was shown off for the very first time. At this point, all that was shown was Yoshi's Island producer and all-around master game maker Takashi Tezuka's involvement, and some screenshots that, as we learned when the game came out, weren't really representative of the final product. From the initial announcement, nearly 2.5 years would pass before Yoshi's Woolly World would come out on the Wii U. Goodfeel kept busy during the development though, creating 2 StreetPass games in MiiForce and Battleground Z, or StreetPass Squad and StreetPass Zombies if you're not in America. They also assisted Alpha Dream with elements of Mario & Luigi Dream Team, a 2013 3DS release. Atsushi Kono directed Woolly World, and aside from working on other Goodfeel games, I can't find any information about him. My gut tells me that likely his origins are probably with Konami, like the rest of the company, but hey, maybe this is someone that didn't just follow the founders from their prior place of employment. Woolly World eventually came out on Wii U in 2015 to mostly positive reviews. The adorable art style goes a long way, and many welcome the additional difficulty compared to Epic Yarn. In early 2017, the game came to 3DS as Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, with some additional Poochie dog touches. Oh yeah, and who can forget the Yarn amiibo that came out alongside these games? I know that my cats can't because they keep on trying to use them as toys. Goodfeel kept working with Nintendo on smaller games in between all of this Yoshi fun, adding 2 more StreetPass games to their resume with Market Crashers and Slot Car Rivals, also known as StreetPass Trader or StreetPass Slot Racer if you're not in America. Man, remember how cool StreetPass was? They should bring that back or something. I don't know, it was a good time. But by the time Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World hit 3DS, the Switch was mere weeks away from launch. A few months later, at the Switch's first E3 2017, Goodfeel's next project was revealed, with a tentative title of Yoshi. Slated for a 2018 debut, this platformer's hook was that there was a front side and a back side to every level, providing multiple perspectives and styles. Also, instead of the wool aesthetic of their last Yoshi game, the art was more inspired by cardboard cutouts. At E3 2018, the game was pushed back to 2019, and by the end of the year, we finally got a full name, Yoshi's Crafted World. As this video first airs, Yoshi's Crafted World is a few weeks away from release, which will be a little while after Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, a portable version of their 2010 Wii game. Goodfeel has been a dependable developer for Nintendo to work with, and that doesn't look like it will change in the future. Let's hope their next game carries forth the tradition of interesting art design while maybe tackling another Nintendo franchise. You know, F-Zero could sure use a felt remake. Maybe they could make a puppet-based Star Fox game? Maybe like a wave race game drawn on a marker board. The possibilities are endless, even if improbable. And that's more or less Goodfeel's story so far. They're a developer born from the ashes of 1990s Konami that has stuck to Nintendo like glue, working with some of their biggest franchises while bringing a remarkable aesthetic to the forefront. It's likely they're not going anywhere anytime soon, and that's a good thing. And after Yoshi's Crafted World comes out, it will likely only be a matter of time before we hear what their next project is. Thank you for joining us over here at Nintendo World Report TV. I am Neil Ronahan, and this is, a little history on Goodfield, the developer. If you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to let us know how much you enjoy this in the comments below, or to the side. Who knows, maybe YouTube will change the placement of things. Anyway, we have other Know Your Developers things. We have stuff on companies like Indie Zero and Retro Studios and Monolith Soft. You can check that out. You can also check out all of our reviews, which are mostly here in video form, but we also have a whole bunch of written ones over at NintendoWorldReport.com. You can check that out, and then support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/NWR. We also have a Discord. You can talk to us about video games and stuff. We like doing that. We like video games. That's why we're here. Anyway, what's your favorite arts and craft to use in a video game? Mine's cardboard. Thanks for watching. Bye.